So I'm here with Jillian Moore. So Jillian came to us about, has it been 2 years?
I think so, roundabout.
About 2 years ago. And like a lot of folks that come to us, she wanted a solar-powered trailer to pull behind her EV. The difference is, Jillian actually did this. And we're standing with it right here, right now, and it's pulling in well over 1,000 watts. We're in the winter time here. We're coming in close. We're late October. So it's getting there as far as winter. The sun's pretty low, but this thing is still pulling the power. So she's leasing a 2023 Volvo C40.
Yep. So
pretty cool car. It's kind of in the background there, charging off our solar system. So anyway, she pulls this trailer with that Volvo. So she drove here from Missouri. How many miles is that? That's 1,000 miles if it's a mile, right? Yeah. So she's been pulling her rig. She's been charging at charging stations, also pulling a little bit off of the rig in between charging stations. But the idea of this rig is that Jillian parks it in a space, unhitches, and kind of uses that as her mothership and her little home base. She got a little bed in there. We'll see some of that in a minute. And then she can cruise with her car. So at Solarrolla, we like to build the completely integrated vans where the solar power is on them, the living space. It's all one unit. But there's also this cool way of doing it, like Jillian is doing it, where you have a separate trailer and you have an EV. So that's a way to get there quick. It's a way to be able to leave your solar system and take off with your car. So it has its advantages. So inside this trailer, Jillian has 8 chins, 12 volt, 200 amp hour batteries. So she has a 48 volt system. So her 12 volt batteries, there's 2 strings of 48. So 4 batteries over here, all in series for 48 at 200 amp hours, and 4 batteries over here, also at 48 volts, 200 amp hours. So about 20 kilowatt hours of battery. So that means when her 3 kilowatts of solar is hitting full, it's about a 6-hour charge. So that's how we designed it for a 1-day charge. However, especially now as winter's coming along, and of course if there's any clouds, you won't quite see that. Your solar panels will put out, probably 75–80% of their power on average. So figure she's pulling a solid 2,000–2,500 watts when that sun is overhead. So just about enough to charge those batteries up. And she has a Schneider 6,800 watt inverter. So a level 2 charge is about 6,600 watts. I'm convincing Jill to charge at about 20 amps, which is 4,800 watts. And that gives her a little headroom should she want to do some other things, cook a meal, run a heater inside. So we're working on the numbers still, and Jillian she's just dived headfirst into this. She's figuring out. Props go out to her for everything that she's sacrificed to learn how people are going to live and travel in the future. So let's take a look at the outlets and the switches for these articulating solar arrays. Okay, so Jillian has 2 outlets here. One is a 20 amp 240 outlet. So again, I'm always trying to convince her to pull just that 20 amps off of her inverter, which again is about 4,800 watts. And then over here we have a regular 110 outlet where she can run 110 items. And of course, running that 4,800 watts gives her a 2,000 watt headroom there for pulling power. So yeah, anything she might want to run AC outside. If you want to cook outside, run some lights, you've done it, very cool. Yeah. Over here we have the switches. So if you notice these solar panels above you, they are lifted and lowered through electrical actuators. So they raise and lower, so obviously we don't drive down the road with this rig in its current state. So the wings come down, the fronts come down, the tail goes down, and it's a nice self-contained unit. And here's all the little switches that you use to do that. So for example, just for fun, let's drop this left side. If you step back, you can kind of see it coming down. It's all fused, so if anything should touch, it'll blow the fuse. Okay, so that's that. Looks like you keep a couple tools in there.
I do.
And then that's, of course, lockable, as these 2 outlets are also lockable, just so no one's stealing your power. So it's been 2 years. do you have anything that you'd like to say about your experience, or pros, cons?
Oh man, it's been a joy. It's been a challenge and a joy. I'd encourage anyone who's on the fence or just thinking about it. I would say if I can do it, you can do it. And there is a lot to learn, and a lot you're gonna learn along the way, but that's also been a pleasure. And you figure stuff out, you know?
And we're here, I was telling Jillian earlier, you know, my success comes from hearing that someone is out there and they charge this much today, or they were able to drive this far. Those little successes, they mean a lot to me. That's why I'm always there to field any questions. Jillian had a little crack on a panel on the right side, so that's why she's here. We replaced that. You know, it was 80 bucks. These panels aren't super expensive, relatively easy to put on. So we'll have her up and running. And she's already up and running.
Yeah, we are up and running. We put the panel back on. That was easy.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And, you know, she was there to kind of check it out and see how it's done so she can do it next time. So what happened was, Jill had the door open and she dropped this side. That's why she's here. I had to replace a panel because that panel dropped on the corner of that door, and before it blew the fuse, it cracked the panel. So what we're doing here is we're putting a little plunger switch in there, so if that door should ever come open, it will disconnect the power to the actuator. So you won't be able to use the actuator if the door is open. You'll actually have to close the door and bind it before it gives enough pressure to make that connection and complete the circuit to the actuator. So we're going to do that in the front, we're going to do that in the back too.
My goal is to be able to have a traveling job. I work as a nutritionist or dietitian. I want to be able to work and live out of this. And right now I'm in the process of building it out and getting all the finishing touches kind of thing. Yeah, I just got a remote job, so that's my long-term vision. Be able to use this as like a station, and then have my car to be able to commute to and from. So I think this works best in that kind of scenario, rather than like long road trips, which it can do. It takes some charging, and it takes a lot of time. But that's been my goal and my personal vision as far as like kind of what lifestyle I want to carve out for myself.
All right, so we added AC input to Jillian's trailer. So she has a Schneider 6848 inverter / charger. So it is a charger if you give it AC. So it's actually the same inverter I use to power my house, although I have two in parallel there. But you know, Jill hasn't had the ability since she's had this trailer to like plug it in places. She's been using exclusively solar. So this not only gives her the ability to plug in, because we used a EV plug, we have to just put a little circuit board in there to give the charging station a square signal and tell it what we want. But then she'll be able to use the charging station. So she'll be able to charge up her EV and also then charge up her trailer at about 20 miles to her range while she's pulling that. So that makes it really nice for her if she's got an access point to plug in, and also down the road when we add this little EVSE handshake square wave signal, she'll be able to use the charging station.